Mikey, we'll just have a few words about the championship this year. One game was played the end of April, then I think there was a lapse of it about 12 weeks before the next game. It's like two different championships.
Yeah, look, I think it's a waste of time, to be honest, because you're trying to flog lads in January and February, you know, and then you're expected, you know, some go travelling, some obviously go back to work and stuff, and then you're trying to get them going again then in June and July, and there's 9 and 10 in the field, and motivation isn't there as much. But look, that'd be my opinion. As I said, I'd rather run it off at the end early. That mightn't suit everyone. It'll be just the way I'm looking at it. But I just think the club player does get a hard time, and I don't know what the solution is. As I said, and I haven't been playing. There's lads like Joe Kelly and Benny that have been doing it for 15 years, you know, and I admire them. As I said, I only came back this summer, and I enjoyed it, but it's a long year, and I do think the higher powers up in Croke Park need to have a think about it, and because without the club you've got nothing, and I just think maybe I don't know if it worked, to be honest now, and if there's another solution, I'd like to give it a rattle anyway.
It's just like you have teams that would have been on form, say, in the end of April, and then 12 weeks later have gone off the boil a little bit.
Yeah. Look,
and that's the problem.
Look, whenever Willie Mullins was trying to train a horse from Cheltenham, he wasn't sprinting him in September, you know. And I know humans are a bit different, but I don't know how many times you can go to the well with guys before, like, you're not getting paid. Obviously, you're doing it for the love of it and all, and it's great. But for the guys that are maybe doing it for 7 or 8 years, they have a family or whatever, maybe you want to book a bit of a holiday and you don't know when Wexford are going to be out of the championship, or, you know, even work, like, you know, self-employed people, it's we were just saying it, it's a massive commitment now for people that are self-employed. You're 3 nights a week, your weekend is gone. If you've a girlfriend there and she maybe
you're dumped,
you know, like, if she's, God help her if she's anyway high maintenance, you're gone, you know. Look, and that's happened to me basically. I just wasn't able to give him I wasn't able to give him the time, you know, because hurling comes first, you know.
He'll put up his number on the screen later on.
Yeah. Is this going Snapchat or Instagram or what? Is it on?
Tinder.
Tinder, I'd go on that too. Tinder and Blackwater now, that'd be.
Or Plenty of Fish.
Yeah. Look, as long as it's not Grindr now or something like that.
Oh, jeez, how do you... Joe, like, if Wexford had gone on further in the All-Ireland series this year, we'd be sitting here tonight talking about a group game, not a county semi-final.
Yeah, that's true. Like, you look at, if Wexford had got, say, to an All-Ireland, it would have been on August 19th, like. Do you know what I mean? And to be honest, like, there would have been no championship played, like, and that's not being biased to the boys that are on the county team. They need, like, they're out putting their lives on. Like, Sisti came out the other day, it was 36 hours for a county player. That's a work, that's a job, like.
That's a week.
That's a week, like, that's a week's work. To give them a rattle at All Ireland, that's fair enough, like, you know. But then the club players knocked on the head again, like, you know, where Mikey was saying, like, you're being flogged in January and February, and then if you lose your match in April, they're bringing you back to the field in the next week and trying to, oh, come on, you know, that kind of way. And like he says, you've 9 or 10 to field, the same lads are going to the field the whole time, like, you know, and you're wanting to go away on holiday and you're wanting to do this. Where you look at Kerry did this actually this year, where they didn't play any championship till they were knocked out of championship. Now, I don't know if that would work in Wexford, like, because you have hurling and football, but that's what they did, like, you know. And maybe the people in up in Croke Park will have to look at something like, you take it. I know the boys went away at the end of April, the Wexford team, but Davy has to do what he has to do, like, you know. That's fair enough. But maybe they just made to bring the championship forward again, the couple of weeks, forget about April and bring it forward into trying to finish up the All-Ireland maybe in the start of August, and then giving the clubs just a straight run at it. Give them, like, because if you look at, we do more training for the sport that we play, like, we do more training than we actually play matches. Like, not even like what Mikey said about Moylers, he goes over 6 weeks before championship and kicks soccer all year, week in, week out, where we don't even play week in, week out. We just play 7 matches, you're in, you're out, you know. Do you know? So I think that, someone has to look at something somewhere along the line where the championship has to be shortened in.
It has to be a happy medium somewhere.
Yeah, I think so, do you know, because the way it's going at the minute, the month of April for the club player was a great idea, but I don't think it's working, you know.
Richie, I think there was a break of about 4 or 5 weeks there before Wexford had a couple of games. Could they run off a couple of rounds?
If they do that, they need to say that at the start of the year what they're going to do. It needs to be more clear to the clubs and to the club management, because you have to have some sympathy for them, because they're given a job to try and win a club championship with their club, and you're talking about the April month, and you train hard. If you had 2 games there, we only had 1 game, but if you had 2 games there and won your 2 games, you're probably already qualified before your last 3 group games, which leads to a little bit of a break. But on the flip side, if you're beaten, you're being flogged for the next few months, and it's all summer long. You're coming back then to under pressure all the way to get through. I think the April month was probably a bit of a joke, because, as we said, there were 4 weekends in April, had to fit 2 football and a hurling in, and they got 1 hurling and 2 football. Surely there's someone, a mathematician or someone, that can sit up at top level and say how many clubs are in each county, how many county teams, what's it like, can we put out 1/2 to the club and then the rest to the county? It can't be that hard to figure out, you know, but something has to be done. I think the level of commitment now at club level to compete, I suppose, and to play in senior hurling is probably going back to what it was county 10 years ago. Like club 10 years ago was probably Tuesday, Thursday night, match of the weekend. Now it's, you know, you have a gym program, you're trying to watch what you eat, you're looking after yourself all year round. Some people are into that, some people are not. You know, generally people want to get an edge on someone. You go back a bit earlier yourself, but collectively you're talking about probably 9-10 months of the year, and like we said before, girlfriends, wives and all that, it's difficult on them.
We're always put on the back foot.
Throw a few kids into the equation as well, and I tell you, Benny will know as well, it's you don't do anything else really, you know, with your time. So definitely something has to be looked at. Maybe it's just the way the year falls. Like, no one wants to be hurling either in the middle of winter. I don't anyway, unless there's not enough all-weather pitches to go around to do that, you know. But no one really. Summer's the time for hurling, and that's when you play your best hurling as fastest, and that's what the game should be shown in the summer. So, yeah, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board, I think, definitely next year.
Yeah, I mean, Benny, you would have done a stint with the county team as well. I mean, it must be hard to balance both of them.
Yeah, very hard. I commend the players in there now, and we all know the effort and commitment they're putting in. We're giving out about having a big break between games, and the paces them lads are put through, they're probably saying, Jesus, I'd love a break, you know. Yeah, but I think it's a lot. Like we could go back December, January, February, March, and you're running solid. You'll be getting sick in training, and you're building up to one match. The momentum goes over. Same thing, 9-10 players in the pitch, and it's always the 9-10 for the last 6-7 years. You know, lads go missing and they come back, and so
That dig at you, no?
so yeah, I think something has to be done. Yeah, sure. Like, we all want to be hurling, you know. We want to be playing games. So yeah, I think something drastically has to be done, or lads will get fed up of it.
Just touching on what Benny was talking about, between the club and the county, like, you would even take whoever goes forward to the county final this year, let it be the Martins or the Raps, Oigate or Nevena, whoever, the lads who are playing county there as well are probably going to be playing for the next couple of weeks, and then they're back with the county maybe in 4 or 5 weeks' time.
Yeah, that type of player is actually flogged in the last few years, you know. He's getting no real break at all.
No break, no.
And, you know, it's... I found the biggest disappointment this year was, you know, after Wexford got beaten by Kilkenny, there was a 4-week gap there.
Yeah.
I thought there should have been at least one round of, you know, I remember, not a lot of the lads here will remember the 80s, but I remember
None of us would we?
No, well, the week before the 1988 Leinster final between Wexford and Offaly, the Raps and the Duffy Rovers played a brilliant game in the championship, and 2 players got called into the Wexford panel, and both of them got brought on the following Sunday. Now, I know times have moved on and you have to pass tests and watch what you're eating and all this, and you know, but I don't see how you need a 4-week break like for county teams. I think it would have done them county players good to get a match with the club. I think it refreshes a player myself personally, but Another big problem is the amount of players that are going to America basically to play matches. We're not giving them matches in our own country. They have to go to a different continent to play matches, and you're going to see more and more of that in the next few years.
It sounds strange, a different continent to play your national game.
But
Absolutely.
to be fair, when you look at the first, you play the first round in April, and then there's a 12-week break, and the county board will say, "But the league is on." Like, don't know, does anyone bother with the league? It's you play who you have. You're asking lads to come up to play up to seniors to fill up the numbers because lads are away.
You're
lads
playing
are on
junior
holidays.
B players.
There's no incentive there, like for the league. You know, it doesn't really mean anything. It used to mean something years ago because it means it's a bit of silverware at the end of the day. But does it really mean anything? Do you know? They're the games that they're playing in the summer.
The only thing is with the league is that you do get a chance to bring a few players up and see, you know, are they?
But the
up to
other problem
senior
is
league?
like you're bringing lads up, but they're probably out playing on a Saturday and to go
They're playing
on a Sunday.
junior or intermediate the day before.
You know, that's the other side of it. They're playing probably too much at the weekend. Like, you know,
But it should be pointed out, like that it's not just a Wexford problem; it's a nationwide problem. Every county has this problem, you know. And how do you solve it? No one has come up with it yet. You know,
We may go to Limerick and find out.
they go to Limerick, JP.